Hi everyone, hope you're okay. My name is Ewan Hopkins from Cardiff University, and today I'm going to talk to you about choosing from the Russell Group. I'm going to talk you through why you might want to consider one of those universities, who they are, what makes them stand out, and hopefully give you a bit more of an idea about what the Russell Group are and why you might want to look into that when you're doing your research. I appreciate it's obviously an unprecedented time at the moment, so obviously I would have preferred to have been in your school or college doing this talk, but hopefully this talk over the next 20-25 minutes will give you a good indication of the information you were hoping to find out. Plenty of what I'm going to talk about is available online, and I'll show you some links towards the end as well. But hopefully it's going to be helpful and interesting for you. So you probably you might well have heard of the Russell Group. If you started your research yet, you probably will have. If you haven't yet, then you may have just had the name in the back of your mind at some point. In terms of what they are and who they are, they're an international excellence group, and the Scholarship Hub calls it similar to the Ivy League in America, which has become somewhat of a sign of excellence in higher education. So it represents 24 universities in the UK. It used to be 20, but more recently it's become 24 universities that are committed to maintaining the very best research, an outstanding teaching and learning experience, and also having unrivaled links with business and the public sector. So I'll talk you through a bit more of that and what that means as I go throughout the talk. But 24 universities in the UK out of around about 140, 150 in total. On this screen, you'll see a list of the 24 I mentioned. Do have a quick look through this. You'll see on the map on the right-hand side that every single part of Great Britain has a Russell Group university. Cardiff is the only one in Wales. Just so you're aware, a couple in Scotland as well. Majority, of course, in England and some in London as well. All the Russell Group universities are in the top 3 in the UK, top third in the UK, sorry, according to the Complete University Guide, and 9 of them are actually in the top 10%. So again, I mentioned earlier on about it being a kind of a sign of excellence or a stamp of excellence. The rankings and where these universities fall in terms of the league tables does show that as well, and that's why the reputation is pretty good. Again, you might well have heard of the Russell Group and not really known much about what they are, and you would have heard of them because of the reputation. Even if you don't know much about them or who they are, having heard the name, it's because it's a sign of excellence of universities in the UK. So they're the ones you'll find in the group. You might have looked at those and thought, okay, I didn't realise they were part of the Russ Group, or you might have thought, right, well, there was a university that I was hoping was that isn't. One thing I'm not going to do today is say to you, you have to choose from the Russell Group. No one would ever say to you, you can't choose outside the Russell Group. I'm going to talk you through the benefits of why you might want to choose from them, but please don't feel like you have to. Please don't feel as if the only chance you're going to have in the future is if you go to a Russell Group university. I will show you benefits, like I said, but no one's here today to say you have to go to one of these. Just some quite common misconceptions that I know some students I've spoken to in the past have had about the Russ Group, and that's kind of put them off. A lot of students get put off by the Russ Group of universities because they think it's going to be too hard to get into. But the misconceptions, you have to be studying 3 facilitating subjects at A level. Facilitating subjects are subjects like science, English, maths, and those sorts of A levels. You don't have to be doing those at all. You could be doing an art and design degree, drama, sport, which some students may think is going to be frowned upon, but it is not at all. All the Russ Group universities will consider every single A level you've got, and they like different A levels. It's good to have a combination of different A levels because it shows different skills and it shows you can balance different types of work as well. So you don't have to be doing 3 sciences. You don't have to be doing English, maths, and another facilitating subject. You can do pretty much whatever you want. The one thing I will say, which of course should go without saying, is whenever you're looking at universities, be it Russell Group or not, make sure you're aware of the subjects they are looking for, because quite often they will be looking for required subjects, maybe 1 or 2, but they'll never be expecting you to have 3 in particular. It doesn't define subjects as hard or soft, so it won't look at some A levels and think, oh, that's quite a soft A level. We're not going to accept that. All A levels are the same in terms of how they look at it. It's only where they're looking for certain subjects in particular where they would need to see those. One example being, if you want to study medicine, you would normally be expected to have 2 sciences, which I would imagine goes without saying for most of you guys. But they're not going to look at some subjects and say, well, that's quite a soft subject. We can't accept that. And also strict entry requirements. Now, of course, with this, it does vary from university to university and course to course. Some universities, some courses will have high requirements. I think strict is normally the wrong word in this position, but they will be quite high. But just do your research and make sure you know what's available. You'll be surprised. Cardiff being a part of the Russell Group, a lot of students assume all the subjects they're looking for are 3 A's or A stars and A's, but we've got some courses looking for a combination of A's and B's, and some even looking for C's. So don't be put off by the Rush Group. Don't be put off by the reputation and the name associated to the university and think, well, there's no point. It'll be too hard to apply into one of those universities. Make sure you've done your research and you know what sort of grades they're going to be looking for. And we've taken this quote from the Rush Group website. So they're ensuring that their doors are wide open to talented and able students from all backgrounds. And that's what really matters to the Russell Group. They want students from all backgrounds to have the same opportunity, to have the same chance as everyone else in the UK to go to one of these universities. And if you're talented and able, doesn't really matter what subject is in, as long as it's relevant to the course. That's what they're going to be looking for. So some benefits. So I'll talk you through now some reasons why you might want to consider, and this is stuff from league tables and some stats as well. Universities in the Russell Group typically, on average, have higher levels of student satisfaction than universities not in the Russell Group. So that means that students who are there enjoy it. They're enjoying what they're learning. They're enjoying what they're being taught, the research. They enjoy every part of the aspect at university, including social life. So high levels of student satisfaction is a good place to start. Greater graduate earnings. Research has shown that graduates from a Russell Group university can expect to earn a kind of 10% top up than graduates from a non-Russell Group university. Now, of course, this will differ from job to job, and it's not going to apply to everyone. But on average, research has shown that you could expect around about a 10% top up being from a Russell Group university. Stiff competition for places. You may look at that and think, well, that's not a benefit. That means it's going to be harder to get into. But it just means that it's more popular. Lots of students apply into it is a good sign. Yes, it makes it more competitive. Yes, it makes it a bit more challenging to get onto that course, but it's much more rewarding from that as well. You're competing against other like-minded and strong students. So it shows that it's a good choice, shows it's a good venture, and it shows it's a good place to be looking at. They also, on average, research has shown universities in the Russell Group have lower dropout rates than universities not in the Russell Group. A dropout rate is exactly as the name suggests. It's how many students will drop out of that course or that university, and it's very, very low for universities in the Russell Group, because students, like we said already, are happy. They really enjoy what they're learning. They're engaged. They're getting really high standards of learning and teaching. They're researching. They're doing all these amazing things, developing all these amazing skills. So they don't want to drop out. They've got no reason to. And then also, one of the biggest things I think is the reputation. The Russell Group has an international reputation. There's students from all over the world who will look at the universities in the UK and will only look at universities in the Russell Group, which again makes it more competitive. But the reputation then kind of rises through that, and then to employers and graduate employers, being from Russell Group University will make you stand out much, much more. So again, this is where I mentioned earlier on, without necessarily knowing what the Russell Group is, you may well have heard of them, and that's because of the reputation. That's because they've got a very, very good UK and also European and also international reputation, and that is what really makes the Russell Group stand out. I know some students will only look at universities in the Russell Group, and if you want to do that, that's completely fine. It's whatever you're looking for and whatever is best for you. Make sure you're doing that, but just bear in mind that the reputation, again, will make them stand out. I've mentioned research a few times. I'm going to talk you through now, why it is important to bear in mind the research, and why going to a Russell Group university means you're going to be quite research intensive. Why is that important? Why would you look at a Russell Group university and think, well, okay, research intensive courses, that's great. Why? And the reason is you're being taught by leading scholars and academic staff who are at the cutting edge of research. You're able to then benefit from a vibrant and developing teaching environment. There's also opportunities to partake and learn firsthand from research projects. It's not just about reading about it afterwards or being told about it or reading it in books. You're actually able to partake in it yourself firsthand. Now, the skills you gain from that and the experience you gain from that is second to none. So going to a research-intensive Russell Group university can set you up for your career afterwards quite nicely. Some examples from Cardiff is QROP. the Cardiff University Research Opportunities Programme. This allows students to get paid over summer about £200 a week to partake in research projects firsthand. Now that is quite a unique experience. It's going to teach you a lot for your course, but also when you graduate, the kind of research and analytical skills you've gained are really going to make you stand out. And again, just a quick bit about Cardiff. I will throw the odd Cardiff kind of stat in here. We are in the top 5 in the UK for research quality and second in the UK for the impact of our research. So students come into Cardiff for a very research intensive university, and they can learn and partake in it firsthand as well. So that's why research is important. That's why you might be studying a course like I did, which was English language, and you might think, well, it's not really known for its research. Why is that going to be beneficial to me going to that university? But they're the exact reasons. It's a vibrant and developing teaching environment. Students enjoy it, and you get to learn more and develop more skills through that. Thinking of the next step is also useful, and this again is where the Rust Group can stand out, is once you've gone through your course, once you've graduated, what happens next? Now, if I jump to the second point, graduate recruiters, some of your biggest graduate recruiters, they actually rank 10 Rust Group universities in the top 30 worldwide. So of all the universities in the world, in their top 30, a third of those, 10 of those, are actually Rust Group universities in the UK. So graduate recruiters from all over the world will be looking at universities. And also 11 of these Rust Group universities are in the top 16 UK-wide, according to the Times HE ranking in terms of graduate employability. 96% of our students at Cardiff enter employment or further study after graduating. So 6 months after they graduate, they're either in work or they're getting a postgraduate or a master's course experience. And we're also ranked 12th in the UK for graduate employability in the Times Higher Education rankings 2019. So not just Cardiff, of course, but Rust Group universities are ranked very highly. There are some graduate recruiters who will also only attend careers events in Rust Group universities. So when they come to the UK, the only universities they'll go and kind of have a stand at, or go and do talks at, or go and workshops at, are Rust Group universities. So you're going to have employers from all over the world coming to talk to you because you're at a Rust Group university. Things like graduate employability, I should say, you can find that quite easily. If you look on university websites and go on the careers pages, normally you can find out how high the graduate employability is, and it can make a big difference for you. You might look at a university and think, right, well, the graduate employability is quite low, and that may make you think, well, am I going to struggle to get work or find a job after this? And it may make you help you make a decision moving the other way. So just bear that in mind and make the most of the time you've got to do a bit of research around that. It's also, like I said, it gets you ready for the future. Again, if I read through this is taken from the Rust Group website. In a rapidly changing labour market, graduates need the capability to adapt to different roles and industries so that they can excel throughout their career. So you need to develop all these different skills to adapt to different roles and industries in quite a fast-moving market, including in jobs which may not even exist yet. The most effective way of doing this is through a research-intensive learning environment. So as I already mentioned, Rust Group universities are very research-intensive. So learning this way and developing this way can help you excel in the careers in different roles, and it can help you adapt and make sure you're capable to excel in these different industries and ever-growing roles as well. Also, years and years ago, so decades ago, in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, graduates represented only a very small percentage of the school-leaving population. So that already made you stand out. Being part of that 8% of graduates from university or school-leaving population, that made you stand out. But now it's more than 40%. So being a graduate no longer makes you part of a small elite. You're no longer part of that really small elite group. It's a lot bigger now. So now you've got to think of, well, how else can I make myself stand out? And it's by going to a university and graduating from a university in the Russell Group, which can really help you stand out as well to make you part of that elite group. On the screen here, I know it's quite small, so do have a quick look if you can, and pause this if you want to look at this in more detail before I move on. But while Rusk Group universities make up just 15% of higher education institutions in the UK, so are very, very small, they actually account for a much higher proportion of university business engagements across a range of sectors. So the top bar is just the proportion of Rusk Group universities in the UK, so a tiny amount. But if you look at different sectors on the right-hand side, like energy, engineering, informatics, space, creative industries, communication and media, the Rusk Group make up almost half, if not over half, of some of those. So they do make up a much higher proportion of university business engagements. So while they're a very small number, together they make up a much bigger number. So that again helps show that Rusk Group universities do stand out, and graduates from those do develop skills and stand out as well. But again, do pause that screen to have a look at that in more detail if you'd like to. I already mentioned that graduates from universities from the Rusk Group can earn on average around about 10% more than graduates from other universities over a lifetime. And I've mentioned this already, that graduate recruiters and developers highly value the breadth of intellect and skills that many Rusk Group graduates bring to their organisations. And that's the chief exec of the Association of Graduate Recruiters, and also the chief exec of Lloyds Banking Group, said the Rusk Group leads provision of opportunity for the most talented and promising minds of the generation. I know it seems a bit dramatic, but that's what chief execs of very large companies are saying, and that's why a lot of those companies will look at graduates from Rusk Group universities, because they know they're very talented, they're very able and capable of excelling and developing in different roles and industries as well. On the screen here, facilities at Rusk Group universities are some of the best you can find as well. And having been to them, some of them myself, visiting and going to attend different events at them, having seen them firsthand, you can tell that the facilities are kind of top range, and have had a lot of money spent on them. But first-rate facilities, over a 5-year period to 2017, Rusk Group University will invest the amount on the screen. So just less than £800 million in teaching for the research facilities for science, technology and engineering and maths, so STEM subjects. Over 160 million for non-STEM subjects. Accommodation-wise, over 360 million has been spent on that. £300 million in sports, social and cultural facilities, so the other side of it, so not to do with the learning or the research, more to do with your social life. Hundreds of millions of pounds being spent there. 170 million in library facilities and 81 million in IT facilities. So the money goes a long way. So that's all been invested. So over £1 billion there has been put towards Rusk Group universities in the UK to help make sure the facilities are first rate. They are top of the range. Cardiff University alone at the moment, as I'll show you shortly, is undergoing the biggest campus upgrade in a generation of over £600 million in total. And that is because we consistently and constantly develop to make sure our facilities are first rate, and that students who come there do get the whole Rusk Group package when they get to university, and they get everything that they'd expect from a university in the Russell Group. Like I mentioned, in Cardiff, we've got plans for a social science research park, the Centre for Student Life, which is already well underway of being built, which is going to be home to the new student support services. £40 million rolling programme to reshape teaching and learning spaces as well. So new lecture theatre, seminar rooms, labs, anything you can think of has been undergone a bit of a facelift in our new upgrade. So this is what universities in the Rusk Group do. This is how they maintain themselves, is to make sure they're always excelling and developing to offer the students the first-rate facilities that they can expect. Students and graduates. So in the Rusk Group as well, Rusk Group alumni include current or former heads of state or government from countries all over the world. So places like Germany, United States, Malaysia, South Africa, South Korea, Peru, India, and many more, as you can see. So lots of their former or current heads of state or government are from a Rusk Group university in the UK. Cardiff University alone has students from over 100 countries all over the world, so very international university, and you'll find similar, if not the same, in every Rusk Group university. It's also when you're there. So when you're there, the way you're going to learn it is the same. So not just through research, but making sure that you're able to actually get the best experience of your learning and how you're going to develop your skills. That's what universities in the Rusk Group make sure they are doing. So they can offer you flexible degree structures. If I speak on behalf of Cardiff very quickly, but it'll be the same in most, if not all, Rusk Group universities. We can offer very flexible degree structures. So in most of our courses in year 1, you'll follow mainly compulsory modules, and it'll get your knowledge up, ready for years 2 and 3. In years 2 and 3, then you get to choose most of your modules. So it means you can tailor your subject the way you want, and you can study what you want, and you can develop in areas you've chosen to look into. So very flexible, and it allows you to learn basically and research what you want to. Offers a range of prelim and foundation courses as well. So some of maybe our medicine degree, for example, you can do a foundation year for that based on the subjects you've taken, optometry and dentistry as well. A mixture of vocational and professional content, so you can learn and work at the same time. So while you're in university gaining the theory, going to lectures and doing your independent work and research, you can also get experience alongside that, so you're putting it into practice as well. We've got a range of accredited courses. You'll find that lots of universities in the Russell Group have a massive range of accredited courses, which make you eligible for that career once you actually graduate. And also, I've mentioned earlier on, one of the first things I talked about was the fact it's a very research-led environment. And like I've showed you earlier on, the benefits of that really do stand out for the Russ Group of universities. Just as I come towards the end, again, do pause this to take a look at this, but I'm not going to go through these individually because it is all on screen for you very visually. But the Russ Group University support 261,000 jobs across the whole of the UK, which is greater than the entire population of the cities of Aberdeen or Plymouth. Universities in the Russ Group generate 86.8 billion for the UK economy, which is equivalent to the total UK-wide expenditure on the NHS for 8 months. And as you can see, many other stats here as well. So they do generate a lot of money for the economy in the UK, and also support lots of jobs as well, as you can see. That's all I'm going to talk about. Hopefully I haven't rushed through that too much. There's plenty of places you can find out more. So for example, if you look at the Russell Group website, so russellgroup.ac.uk, plenty of information and lots of things I just talked about online there. Again, if you're not sure if the universities you're looking at are Russell Group and you would like to think they are, then take a look at the Russell Group website and find out who's there. You can look on the UCAS website to find that more, and also the Cardiff.ac.uk website, and there's loads of information about applying to Cardiff and our courses there as well. You can give us a ring at any time. And you may also be interested in the fact that we've got a virtual open day this Friday. So Friday the 3rd of July is our virtual open day. Now, the one thing I'll just finish off saying from a very general point of view, so not just Russell Group, is please don't worry. Please don't panic about the fact that you can't go to physical open days. I appreciate it's not ideal. I appreciate it'd be great to go and see universities firsthand to get a really good idea of it, and it is important. But try and see the positives. So if you were to go to physical open days, you'd go to about 4 or 5, and I'd say that'll be it. You wouldn't want to go to any more than that because it'll get quite expensive to travel. The travel takes a lot out of you. You might not have any more days off school or college, and also you might have a part-time job. You can't get any more days off. So you go to 4 or 5, and that's what you'd be able to do. When it comes to virtual open days, you can actually go to 100 of these if you want to, all from your sofa. Very easy to do that. So you can draw more comparisons. You can look at more universities. Some that maybe you wouldn't have considered going to visit physically, you might look at a virtual open day and think, wow, this has surprised me. This is much better than I thought it'd be. So you've got more chance to draw comparisons and to find that as much as you can as well. So try and see the positives. It is obviously hopeful that open days, physical open days, will come back towards the end of this year, but if not early next year. But until then, make the most of virtual open days. Universities at the moment will have more information online than they'd ever had before, because they know it's the only way that students can actually find out more about the university. So again, make the most of that. Having these sort of talks this week, on I think your first week back, can also give you a massive advantage as well. So just bear that in mind and use that to your advantage. That's all I'll say. Hopefully that's been helpful. Do give us an email, which you can find on our website, or do come to the open day. If not, then hopefully that was the sort of information you were looking for. Hopefully it's given you a bit more of a flavour about what the Russ Group is. And also, last to say from me, look after yourselves and stay safe as well. And thanks for listening.